which muscles actually create an aesthetic physique? Let's be real. You want to build a body that not only looks good, but performs well and feels strong and athletic. Not spend years in the gym just to end up blocky, uneven, and built like Steve from Minecraft. My name's Amarian, and I've been training for over 5 years, since I was 14, and I've built a physique that's strong, athletic, and aesthetic. That's why in this video, I'm ranking all of the major muscle groups based on how aesthetic they are, because some will level up your physique and others might just be holding it back. Now, to first start off this tier list, we're going to be starting off with one of the most overrated muscle groups in the gym, which is the biceps. But is it really that useless? I consider this overhyped. The biceps doesn't really add to the actual frame of your physique. It's more so a muscle that people look at. Like, don't get me wrong, I do consider biceps to be a pretty important muscle group to train, but I don't think it's that important as people think it is, okay? Because it's not a muscle that people can go ahead and look at you from afar and be like, dang bro, he's jacked, okay? Now, while I do admit, when you think of a guy who is jacked, you think about a guy who has big arms immediately. That's just instinctually. But when it comes to biceps, they're not the type of physique that sells that, oh my god, this guy looks aesthetic. You know what I mean? Because they're not something that adds to your general frame. They don't make you look wider, okay? They do make you look powerful, like from the front of your arm. I think people try to focus on this muscle too much when they need to be putting their focus on other muscle groups too, like the ones I'm about to mention. I'm just saying that, again, your focus needs to be on other muscle groups too. So because of that, I'm going to be putting these in the A tier. Of course, in order to train your biceps, use controlled curls such as preacher curls, spider curls, incline focus curls, and make sure to focus on the stretch and the squeeze. Do not just swing the weight up and down, all right? Try to really focus on bringing it upright and then all the way back down, and just focus on that squeeze, that eccentric part. Now, for number 2, we're going to be talking about the triceps. Now, let's be honest. Everyone, they talk about biceps, but they never really talk about the triceps. But they never understand that this muscle makes up most of your arm size. And the reason why to this is because triceps gives that arm thickness and just makes them look full, especially from the side view too. This 3-headed muscle group also helps you lock out and push the weight. So with that explanation, I may put this in B tier. The reason why to this is because while they do add more size to your actual arm, they're not as important as the biceps. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people are looking at the front of your arm, okay? They're not looking at the back of your arm. And even if they are looking at the back view, they're not going to be looking at your triceps, okay? But I will admit though, they do add a lot to your actual size of your arms. So because of that, there's not something that you can skip. So in order to actually train these, I would say use some type of overhead movement, some dips, and also some stretch-based exercises to hit that long head, which most people neglect. Because let's be honest, we all know that the dumbbell kickback is a pretty useless exercise, but its big brother, which is the cable kickback, is really, really, really good for targeting those other heads of the triceps. Now, on to the next muscle group, which is going to be the calves. Now, let's be honest, this is the most stubborn muscle group in the human body. And the reason why to this is because calves is mostly genetics, okay? But I am glad that this is one of those only muscle groups that is really heavily influenced by genetics, because I'm gonna be honest with you, like I said earlier, I don't train this muscle. And the reason why to this is because it does not add a lot in terms of aesthetics and really in terms of performance at all either, okay? Yes, you can train your calves per se, right? To help with your vertical and jumping and all that stuff. But what I'm trying to get at is that calf size does not link to calf capability, okay? Because of it being mostly genetic, there's not much you can do in terms of growing the size of your calves. And even if you do, I'm just being honest with you, just having big calves just make you look kind of more shorter and stubby. So because of that, that's why I prefer not to train these. And because of that, I'm putting these in about D tier or so, right? Now, we're on to the hamstrings. Now, let's be honest. If you only train quads, you're just setting yourself up for a major imbalance. So because of that, you must train your hamstrings, okay? Because they do lead to not having an imbalance, which not having an imbalance can mean that you have more balance, more stability, and just more overall performance in terms of running and other stuff like that, right? I also do gotta realize too that nobody really looks at your hamstrings that much, okay? Like hamstrings, they don't add that much in terms of aesthetics. Like, don't get me wrong, it does look totally off when you don't have any hamstrings at all. They're one of those invisible muscle groups that don't add that much, okay? Just make sure they exist, basically, is what I'm trying to say, right? So because of that, I'm gonna put these in maybe C tier, okay? In order to train these, okay, I would say do RDLs, do leg curls, and do glute ham raises, and focus on the stretch and don't rush the negative. But now we're on to the big boy, okay? The muscle group that is antagonistic from the hamstrings, the quads, all right? The big boy. This muscle group separates casual lifters from physiques that impresses people, okay? And the reason why to this is because most people who even actually go to the gym, especially guys, if they have some type of muscle development, they usually have really developed upper bodies. But if you realize, they don't have as much lower leg development, right? And the reason why to this is because most people, they skip quads, all right? They really try to skip leg day. I know it's a meme that goes around in the fitness industry all the time about skipping leg day. So because of it, it's so normalized for a lot of guys to skip leg day. And because of this, it looks kind of off when you look at people who have really good developed upper bodies, but they don't have as much leg development. So it's one of those things I'll say that it really does throw out that visual imbalance. And if you don't train these, it really will show. And it really does detract from your physique if you don't have good quads, all right? So because of that, I have to put this in the B tier, okay? I'm gonna put these in B tier. Just make sure you do your squats, make sure you do your lunges, maybe even do your sissy squats, all right? They don't need to be absolutely massive, but they do need to be there, all right? That's something I will say. Now we go on to one of, if not the most loved muscle groups in the fitness industry, and that is the chest, all right? If you want that superhero armor plate look, then training the chest, especially the upper chest, is basically a non-negotiable, all right? Having a thick, full chest, especially the upper part of the chest, just makes your physique look like an absolute superhero, like just complete and powerful, okay? And especially when you have other developed upper muscle groups that I'm about to mention soon, that will also be in the more S tier category, it really does help tie in that powerful look in terms of your physique. So because of that, I have to put the chest in the S tier, but it is mainly carried because of the upper chest, all right? The upper chest is what really carries this being in the S tier, because that's what contributes the most to having that more armor plate look, all right? A lot of people, they just focus on regular bench press and flies, but they really do ignore the upper chest, and because of that, their chest is not their strong point, all right? But if you do go ahead and focus on your incline pressing movements, then your chest can really be your strong point. Like for me, for example, I can even see in some videos, I can see like literally my upper chest just having that vein now, because I've been training them so hard for 5 years now. It's really became a strong point of my physique. Again, like I said earlier, make sure you do your incline pressing movements. I really love my dumbbell incline bench. I love that. You also do weighted dips and also cable flies too. And of course, do the good old bench press. Just make sure you go with depth and control. All right, there we go. Now we go on to a sleeper pick, especially for guys, and that is the glutes, all right? I'm gonna be honest with you. Most guys I know for a fact skip this one. But to be honest with you guys, having trained glutes just might be one of the biggest cheat codes for aesthetics. Now, hear me out, all right? Glutes give that lower body shape, power and balance, especially from the side and rear, okay? And one thing I also realized too is that girls, they also do like a good butt on guys too, all right? It goes the same way, okay? And this is because of evolution, right? Having a big glutes basically means like, oh, you are very powerful. You can go ahead and sprint a long distance. And that is very true. You know what I mean? Look at a lot of top star athletes or football athletes, you know, especially. You usually see that they have very developed glutes, all right? Like, come on. They're the largest muscle group in the body for a reason, okay? They have a lot of power and are key for posture and hip extension, all right? So because of that, I'm gonna actually put this in B tier, all right? I'm gonna put this in high B tier. Maybe later I may put this in A tier, I don't know, but we'll see, all right? Then again though, make sure in order to train your glutes well, make sure you do your hip thrusts, your Bulgarian split squats, and also do your RDLs. Make sure to train heavy and control the tempo. Now we move on to the lower back, right? Now, the lower back is important for function, but is it doing anything in terms of aesthetics? Not really. I mean, it's absolutely crucial for posture and strength, but it just won't make or break how your physique looks at all, right? And because of that, I'm gonna actually put these in D tier, all right, D tier. As I just said, it is important for function, but to be honest with you, you never really have to go out of your way to go ahead and go train your lower back. And the reason why I did this is because it's active on so many different exercises. If you do your deadlifts, your Romanian deadlifts, maybe even your squats, the lower back gets trained in those things. And because of that, you never have to go out of your way to go and train your lower back unless you're skipping your basic compound movements. So because of that, this is an aesthetic tier list, so I'm gonna put these in D tier. Now we have obliques, okay? Now, I will admit, obliques add detail to your body when lean, but here's the thing. Having overdeveloped obliques is basically saying goodbye to your V-taper, because having overdeveloped obliques can make your waist look blocky, and this is not what we want when it comes to having an aesthetic physique. We want to have that V-taper, okay? But I will admit though, the obliques, they do add a lot in terms of sports, all right? Because let's be honest, in sports, you're more so going to side, especially in terms of boxing. You're basically generating a lot of power from the side, okay? So having good obliques is really important, especially in sports. So I'm not gonna say to not train them, but I will say in terms of aesthetics, they're not really something you should be focused on. And really, you can have visible obliques if you just get lean enough, all right? So train your obliques periodically, use side planks and controlled rotational work, but avoid going too heavy or training them too often because again, you don't want to have them overdeveloped. So because of this, I'm gonna put these in C tier, maybe C tier along with hamstrings, all right? We have 5 muscle groups left. At number 10, we have the upper back / the traps, right? Now, I will admit, they make you look absolutely powerful, but having too much of the upper traps specifically can just make you look more blocky and ruin your symmetry. So because of that, the upper traps span from the neck to shoulder, and they're involved in scapular movement and posture. So because of this, I'll say maybe C tier, all right? In order to train these though, you don't need to go out of your way to isolate your upper traps, as they're really developed a lot in deadlifts and rows. Honestly, I never had to isolate my upper traps, and I actually do have pretty good upper trap development, all right? But again, they're not overdeveloped because I don't go and isolate them. But if you do go and isolate them, you can do shrugs, but do them sparingly. Now, number 11, we have my favorite muscle group to train and the key to honestly having that V-taper physique, which is gonna be the lats, okay? And I'm gonna put these immediately in S tier, and here's why. Having wide lats gives your upper body that dramatic flared shape, making your waist look so much smaller than they genetically can be. Having those large fan-shaped muscles running from your spine to your arms just adds so much to your upper body, man. Like seriously, they make you look like you can fly when they're developed. In order to train your lats pretty well, I say do pullovers, weighted pull-ups, I'm telling you, dude, doing weighted pull-ups alone will basically blow up your lats and make you look like you have TIE fighter size lats. I'm telling you right now, okay? Like, they work, all right? And also rows too. Rows do give you that deep stretch. Now, at number 12, we have the abs / core, all right? Now, nothing screams aesthetic more than having good abs, right? Especially when you're lean and they're absolutely cut out, right? But the thing is that abs, they're not as seen, 99% of the time, because let's be honest, we have clothes on 99% of the time, right? So I do say, it definitely does scream discipline and that you can put the fork down for a bit, you know what I mean? You have a good diet, and I think they are vital to having a good physique, right? But I do realize that because you don't see them 99% of the time, I'm probably put these in A tier, all right? Now, in order to train your abs, I say you don't have to go out of your way to isolate them, because they usually get trained the most with like compound movements and all that stuff if you're doing those well. But if you do want to go and isolate your abs, then you could do hanging leg raises, weighted crunches, and even ab wheel rollouts. I used to do those a lot, and those, they hurt like hell for my abs, but they really do work. Now, at number 13, we have forearms, all right? Now, I'm gonna be honest, you're not a quote unquote game changer, all right? But I do think that this is something that really does add a lot in terms of having a good aesthetic physique, right? Because having well-developed forearms just add realism and balance to your arms. And especially having good developed forearms, they help you with control and grip, which those are also really important too in terms of everything, really, to be honest with you. So because of that, I'm gonna probably put these in B tier. Yeah, B tier. I'm gonna do that. In order to train your forearms, I say do farmer carries, reverse curls, and bar hangs. These are great bonus exercises, but don't try to major in them, all right? If you're doing your compound movements correctly and you're not using straps all the time, then these should get developed pretty easily. Now, last but not least, we have the shoulders, right? This is what makes your physique go from good to godlike. I'm telling you that right now, okay? Having broad, well-developed, round delts are the most eye-catching part of the muscle groups. They really do frame your body and boost your V-taper like crazy, okay? They really do make you look that superhuman, all right? With 3 different heads to develop, the front, the side, and rear delts, with the side delts being the most absolute critical for width, okay? I'm telling you right now, spam lateral raises, okay? If there is one exercise that you must be doing whenever you are training shoulders, it is your lateral raises, okay? And do those first, all right? When your delts are absolutely fresh. Because I'm telling you right now, that is what sells the idea that you look strong and capable, is your shoulders, all right? And they're absolutely critical for your width. I think you guys already know where I'm gonna put these with how I describe them. I'm putting these in S tier, all right? Make sure you're doing your lateral raises, your overhead presses, and your rear delt flies, and hit them with frequency and volume, all right? If you guys have enjoyed the video, make sure to go ahead and subscribe and leave a like on the video. And if you guys want my free 90-day workout plan, make sure to click the link in the description below. And this is Marian signing out. Peace.